Alright, welcome back to Let's Play Sonic Adventure. This time we're going to get the A rank emblem for Final Egg with Metal Sonic. Now, Final Egg is very short on alternate paths. It's got like that one path with all the... yeah, you remember. And there's not a whole lot of finesse that you can take when playing this stage. You can pull off a spin dash every now and then, but really there's nothing unique about a playthrough where you get an A rank emblem. It's just play through the stage normally, don't go looking around for stuff. So instead, I thought I might mention something my friend Protagoras said. So he said to me, "A human being is the measure of all things, of those things that are, that they are, and of those things that are not, that they are not." Now, scholars generally agree that what that means is, it's basically a statement of relativism. So when he says, a human being is the measure of all things, what Protagoras is getting at is that reality is going to be measured by the person. That if I see a movie and think it's funny, and you see a movie and think it's sad, the movie is not in and of itself funny or sad. It's that each person has a reality defined for himself or herself. So, for me, it is perfectly true that the movie is funny. But that only exists within the context of me, and that is my own personal reality. Now, that earned the sophists a lot of ire. And actually has earned them a pretty bad reputation over the years. In particular, Plato gave them a bad name because when he hears relativism, he says, wait a minute, that's really stupid. That means, how can there be a different truth for every person? There's only one truth, and, Plato's the guy who came up with the concept for truth with a capital T. The Platonic concept of truth, and beauty and all that good stuff you should remember from high school philosophy. But maybe it's a sign of the times, but objective truths are becoming increasingly difficult to believe in. And that's how I went into the LP. Oh, you can fall down that crack, and there's a green screen. Isn't that interesting? Okay, so I'm a big fan of Stanley Fish, who basically says, reader response theory is the only thing that matters. There is no text without the reader to interpret it. And, I would say the same is true of games. A game in and of itself doesn't matter, it's the player's experience that matters. And of course that experience is going to be different for each player. And so that is the mindset that I went with while doing this LP. While I tried to, state it in a way that sounded objective, the entire thing was, an examination of my personal experience with the game. And in that sense, it's a really selfish playthrough. But there's always the hope that that if you talk about yourself in the context of the game, if you talk about it in the context of the game enough, that other people can see your point of view and maybe think of a game in a different way than what they had thought of it, and then a different way than they had thought of it. And I think for criticism in general, that's the most interesting part, like learning how other people see the same thing that you see. I don't know, I think it's impossible to live in a world without relativism, and that's kind of skeezy, morally speaking, because then, yeah, you get into a bunch of moral questions that way. But this is just a Sonic Adventure LP, so I don't know why you would even have moral questions. I guess you could have the moral question of, like, why would you play a terrible platformer from 1999? But then I would say calling Sonic Adventure is terrible is going overboard. I mean, it's not the best, but I mean... And part of relativism is, well, Sonic Adventure is a game you have to practice at to have fun with. I guess I can talk about that next time. I'll see you back here for Egg Viper.